Till now, we've been looking at leadership, mostly in the eyes of the leadership assessing the followers. Let's take a look at leadership through the eyes of the followers, how they see the leaders. So we have transformational leadership, which you may or may not have heard of, charismatic leadership, which you probably have in some attributes of leaders. For the transformational, let's break that down a little bit and say what does make a transformational leader. First of all, let me jump ahead a couple slides and look at what's a definition of a transformational leader. A set of abilities that allows leaders to recognize the need for change, to create a vision, to guide that change, and execute the change effectively. So a transformational leader is not only going to take us where we haven't gone before, that's the goal of a leader, but we'll be transformed in the process. We'll be better, we'll be stronger, we'll be more creative. We will have abilities we didn't have before. We, the followers, right? They will get more out of us than we even knew was in there. So that sounds great, right? So let's take a look at how they might do that. So they use things like idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Not opposed to that, but in addition to that, we also have a leadership style called transactional, which our book really doesn't talk about. But generally in leadership, when we talk about transformational, we talk about transactional. So whereas transformational is the I have a dream, we have the vision, we have the motivation to go to that vision, a transactional is more based on a contract. Do this for me, I'll do this for you. Vote for me, I'll lower your taxes. That's exactly where this comes from. A guy named Burns was looking at leadership in politics, and that's exactly where he got the idea of transactional. Vote for me and I will build up the military and keep you safe. Vote for me and I'll improve your schools, right? So we have a transaction, we have an agreement. So leaders do the same thing. I'm going to set you management by objectives. Here's your 4 goals for the year, and when you achieve those, I will give you certain rewards. I'll give you a good evaluation. I will give you a decent raise, and maybe in a couple years of this, and I'll put you in for a good promotion. Right? So that's exactly what it is. And of course, if you do your part and I don't do my part, I violated that trust, and then good luck getting you to respond in the future. So that's transactional. Now, is that a bad form of leadership? No, but when my ability to reward you with transaction goes away, so does my ability to influence you. As opposed to the visionary transformational, it's not so much based on reward, it's based on internal motivating things in you. So even if I were to lose my title or whatever, I still might retain a good bit of my ability to influence you. When the reward goes away, so does the desire to comply. So at first that was viewed as a less effective style of leadership, but it has its place, and here's its place. When you and I first meet, we don't have a leader-member exchange going. Right? We're strangers. I'm your new leader. By doing a transactional leadership style, you learn that if I make a promise and you live up to that goal, I'll live up to my promise and you get the reward. So we start to develop that trust. We mentioned trusting your leaders is one of the traits of successful leaders. So transactional is a way to develop trust. It's a way to break the ice. It's a way to get you in the in-group. So it fits into numerous leadership models we've been talking about. So it is not necessarily a bad thing, although in the long run, transformational is more effective. Certainly in the short run, transactional is easier to set that up, get it started, get it working. And then over here, factor 7, you may have noticed, it's this laissez-faire, right, which is just hands-off, non-transactional. That's non-leadership, period. So that's sort of an absence of leadership, and that leads to sort of total chaos and failure. All right, so what are these? Since transformational leadership is the most effective in the long run, let's look at this. I guess I should review these real quickly. Management by exception, active or passive, means when you're doing exceedingly well, I'll give you a reward. When you're doing just fine, you get the just fine reward. And then when you're struggling, when you're behind, then I step in. Otherwise, I leave you the heck alone. So that's the management by exception. When I leave you alone unless there's an exception to your performance. Active means I go looking for, I pay close attention to monitoring the activities, so I find out quickly when someone is not doing what they're supposed to do. Either is ahead or behind schedule. Passive is basically I hide in my office and keep the door shut and try to keep the world out, and I do not make any corrective transactions until I just can't ignore it anymore. Not so good. And there's a lot of data to show that the passive technique is pretty bad. It's almost as bad as the absence of leaders. All right, so let's look at these transformational techniques that tend to work well in the long run. So individualized consideration. Leaders provide a supportive climate in which they listen carefully to the needs of the followers. So there's the old saying, you take care of the troops and the troops will take care of you. All right, so you need to have consideration for them. You need to understand they need things. You need to understand they need to have some time off. They need to have some training. They have some resource requirements before they just do this thing. You can't keep asking them to do more with less and so forth. And it's not just you do this, but the followers need to perceive the leaders as doing this, right? Because if they don't perceive it happening, then they basically did not. Intellectual stimulation, next on the list, stimulates the followers to be creative and innovative. So the leader challenges them. Does anybody have an idea how we might do this? This is a complex task. Let's think about how we might solve this. Come on, we don't have the answer now, right? No? All right, well, let's sit down and put our heads together and see if we can come up with something. Right? We're all smart people. Let's figure this out. Right? So that's the kind of thing they're doing. Right? Oh, I see your idea here. Is there anything we could do that's better than this? Right? So again, from organizational change, Einstein was the one who said we can't one definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect different results. So that's what the leader does. They stimulate the group to try to do better. It's amazing how, I've seen this over and over again. A group will sit there and be doing the same thing over and over until somebody challenges them. Hey, can't we do better? And it's like they truly never tried until somebody pokes them a little bit and says, hey, how about this? How about that? Gives them a little bit of inspiration, a little stimulation. That's what I mean by poking them. And then the ideas start to come out, and some of them are they can be astounding. They can be quite good. So that's the leader's job, to stimulate the group to try to come up with creative solutions. Because remember, this is influence to achieve organizational goals. If they've already have done it, it doesn't take any leadership. So they're going to places they haven't gone before. So yeah, they're going to have to think hard and try new things. That's the intellectual stimulation. Inspirational motivation, leaders communicate high expectations to followers. Yes, we know this is hard. We know this is difficult. We haven't done this before. All right, they're going to inspire them through motivation and commitment, a shared vision. We're going to do this thing. So John F. Kennedy, when he's president, we choose to go to the moon, not because it's easy, because it's hard, right? That's the classic one. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do this for these reasons. It's the right thing to do. We can help these people. We'll help our organization. We'll make us strong. We'll have financial security. Whatever it is, right? The leader has to understand their followers and know which buttons to push. Right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't mean that as they're taking advantage of them, but it often leads to success by the leader and the followers. Right? And then individualized influence describes a leader and a strong role model for followers. So the leaders want to be like, the followers want to be like the leader. They want to be associated with them. They want to be part of their team. So there's where charisma comes in. Right? The leader sees the follower doing certain things, think, I like him. I like his style. I like the way he does that. I could do that. That's me. Right? So those are considered the 4 I's. Individualized consideration, I help get you what you need. Intellectual stimulation, I stimulate you to try new things and think new thoughts. Inspirational motivation, I know how to motivate you, get you excited. And individualized influence, right? You like the leader. You think a lot of the leader, you think they're the best person. So here we go. So transformational and charismatic are similar, but charisma is a personal characteristic, right? And it certainly can help. Are charismatic leaders more successful than non-charismatic leaders? And the answer is, in certain situations they are. What are those situations? Where there's a lot of organizational rules in place, not so much. Where it's freewheeling, free changing, and difficult. There's this difficult challenge right in front of us. People like the charismatic leaders. If it's same old, more of the same, then not so much. They don't see what everybody's getting all excited about. All right, so we see a charismatic leader. What do they do that makes them charismatic, right? Well, first of all, they always have a lot of energy. Personal excitement, right? Remember I said people, when they don't think they need a charismatic leader, will say, what's all the excitement about? Personal confidence. They have lots of confidence in themselves, right? You're lucky you're here to save the, lucky I'm here to save the day because it's me, so I've got this. They like to find success. They find things where they can win. They do not tolerate failure. They do not like failure. They will shy away from it. So they will go for the win. They see themselves as winning, and it really kind of blows their self-image if they don't. They will try to salvage something out of it that can claim a victory. Envisioning, articulate a compelling vision. Absolutely, I'm in charge of this big thing we're going to do, and we're going to set high expectations. We're going to do a super job. We're going to go all the way to the moon and put the first man on the moon and all of that. And I know you can do it. It's going to be hugely challenging, but we're going to give you some resources and we're going to be able to pull it off. And then they model consistent behaviors. I'm consistently a charismatic leader. You don't want to see your charismatic leader lose confidence and things like that. So I will not only be charismatic, but I'll consistently be so. And enabling, express personal support. I need you. I need your help. You can do this. I'll have some empathy for you, but most of all, I have confidence in you. You're on my team, and my team is great because I'm great. And because you're on my great team, you will be great. And so they express a lot of confidence in people. And quite frankly, people like that, right? They feel like it's they're really treated to that. And they feel like it brings a lot to them for them.